Also, Freedom Founders, I will say, helped me optimize my practice, working smarter, not longer. I got to sit down and figure out, what is my number? How much do I need per month? And when you start thinking about that, it's a whole different mindset. Yeah. Whereas in Freedom Founders, when I got to the point where I knew what my monthly nugget was, my monthly number, and I reached it, surpassed it with passively monthly cash flow, the whole freedom mindset opens up where I don't have to work so hard. And I saw a way that I could create multiple streams of income and maybe get a little more freedom.
Good day, everyone. This is Dr. David Phelps of the Freedom Founders Mastermind Community and the Dentist Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I've got the real privilege and honor to bring to you, my audience today, one of our Freedom Founders members. And the reason I like to do this from time to time is that I think the insights from those who have been looking for a different path, a different way towards their retirement goals, their freedom goals, their time goals, their family legacy goals. I think it's nice to hear from people who have decided to take things more in their own hands and not just abdicate to other institutions and other platforms that we've been told we need to do. And so it's my pleasure to bring Dr. Jim Rocker to our call today. Jim, how are you doing, sir?
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me on. I listened to most all of your podcasts, and I sure appreciate you. And I wanted to shout out to you right off the bat. Thank you for showing me a different way, a cash flow mentality. It's changed my life. Your community at Freedom Founders has done so as well. I appreciate your mentorship and friendship. And I think you're changing lives with what you're teaching. And I'm just one of many to give you the accolades on that. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, Jim, let's talk a little bit about, you growing up and the fact that your father has been in the financial world for many decades and done really well. And you've been around that world. And so some level of investing talk, if I can call it that, is not new to you. You've been around that, and you're in his firm, did very well over a number of decades. What brought you to saying, you know what, I want to look at something a little bit different. In this case, alternatives, real estate, which is what we do in Freedom Founders. What was it that motivated you to say, I might want to take a little bit of a different path or do something with some difference in my path forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I get that a lot, actually. And, I read your book, from high income to high net worth. I just happened to come across my desk. And I was like, man, that is a whole other mindset. Whereas my dad lived the accumulation scarcity model in the market. Hey, just give your money to these people and they'll invest it. And in 40 years, you can have your time off, hopefully, and you'll have the money that you need. And at the time, I was motivated by the fact that I was tired. Dentistry is hard on your body. It's hard on your brain. And when I read your book and this cash flow model, really resonated with me, actually. So looking at the stock market and where it was at that point, where the market had never been higher, rates have never been lower. Now we got inflation creeping up. We haven't had a correction in a while. There's going to be a huge correction, and I can't really mentally or financially afford losing half of my wealth. And so I was motivated to change the model to kind of copy what you brought to the table and to our group. And it really made sense to me, having this monthly cash flow income. Also, I got to sit down and figure out, what is my number? What's my burn rate? How much do I need per month? And when you start thinking about that, it's a whole different mindset than just how much do you need? Oh, I don't know, $20 million, $10 million, I don't know. Nobody really knows. But when you sit down and look at your expenses, where you are with your IRAs, where you are with your cash flow and your time, I realized that I was not being smart with my financial process. I was just giving it to these people, and they were investing it somewhere. And I knew it was time for a change. We talked a little bit about my, living your legacy, not leaving a legacy. I believe everyone's going to leave a legacy, but if you can live your legacy with your kids and teach them what they need to know while you're around and not just give it to them later, that was important to me. And your model in Freedom Founders was the way to do it. Now, as you mentioned, my father did real well in Wall Street. But you really can't look at that because after '08, everything changed. After Dodd-Frank, everything changed. What they could do with their private money managers is now gone. You can't do that. You can't get that information. It's not legal now. It's on the black edge, they call it. And so I saw the model that you presented. I saw the fact that what you brought to the group with this curated real estate. I saw the tax mitigation in that process. And I saw a way that I could create multiple streams of income and maybe get a little more freedom, of time. So I appreciate you for that.
Speaking of freedom of time, I think, there was a point not too many years ago when you were putting in 5-6 days a week, because that's just what you felt like you need to do. If the opportunity is there to serve and be productive, well, that's how we feel we should do it. And you recently took another day off, and now you don't even go in on Mondays, right? So that was, again, part of freedom. And I think it came from, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it came from the fact that, you've hit these milestones of the cash flow, and you're actually, considered one of our Free for Life members, because you actually have replaced your active income and then some. We have always like a safe margin there with the passive or annuity income that comes from the assets you've invested in. So that takes a lot of pressure off. You don't have to be driving as hard. You can actually, allow other doctors and your hygienists and focus on the team and still do the dentistry you want to do, but it's not the same hard pace that we always have to go through, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's kind of funny, I just thought about this, is when you have your money in the market, you talk to a wealth management person, they're never going to give you that number that you could be done investing with them, because they make money off of your money.
Yeah.
Whereas in Freedom Founders, when I got to the point where I knew what my monthly nugget was, my monthly number, and I reached it, surpassed it with passively invested monthly cash flow, everything opens up. That the whole freedom mindset opens up, where I can do what I want now. I can travel more, or I can read more books. I don't have to work so hard, because now I know what my number is. And I think our greatest asset really is time. And I believe that we're chasing time, and time is pursuing us. And I really feel that once you reach that freedom of the financial freedom part, you might find that you're going to do things that you might not have normally done. You might serve more. And that's my wife and I serve in Guatemala. We have a company, or a foundation called transformingfutures.org. I have a mentorship institute, Smile Mentorship Institute, that I like to mentor young professionals. We have a homeless clinic in Flint where we can do some free dentistry. The point of that is without the financial freedom that you taught us how to acquire, David, none of that would have come up or bubbled up to the top. I think also I have more freedom now to teach my children a high level financial acumen that I might have been just working so hard I wouldn't even know what was going on, because I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought I had to just work 5 or 6 days a week, making great income as a dentist with a great practice, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't free. I was depressed, and I just kept pushing. Whereas I think now with this new mindset of not a scarcity accumulation theory, stock market theory, now I'm into the cash flow monthly nugget expenses. My whole life changed. And now I want to teach my kids about it, and I want to tell people about it. And then I think once you get to that point of financial freedom, I think you get to the point where you're now looking for not success, but you're looking to be significant. And I say that a lot, but I think that's really true, is what can I do for others now? I wasn't going to be one to become Free for Life in your group and then play golf all day. When I read the Free for Life application that Freedom Founders passes out, I realized that financial freedom was just one way to get to the other freedoms. I tell people, I actually had a meeting with a guy this week, but I'm probably the best dentist you want to be with because I don't really need the money.
Yes.
I have no pressure. I come in because I want to. I'm good at it. But a few years back, I hated driving to work. I hated pulling into this place. I know I'd be here for 12 hours working. Also, Freedom Founders, I will say, helped me optimize my practice, meaning working smarter, not longer, implementing traction into my office. So creating a business that had freedom in it, creating passive income with multiple streams of income outside of it that Freedom Founders has curated. It has created not only freedom, but also freedom of my mind. I'm not so worried anymore. I know what my numbers are. I know where we're headed, and now I can teach it to my children as well.
And that's part of what you say so often is don't think in terms of leaving a legacy, like at the end, and estate planning and, all that is part of it. You talk about living a legacy. So talk a little bit about that and your family dynamics and a little bit why that's so important and what benefits you're seeing already from what you've instituted.
Yeah, well, first off, I'll thank Freedom Founders for that too, because we're able to bring in our family and into deals. And so I would say, we created a family office, which is really a way to use our children's entities to do investment deals on the good side of taxation. And thus, David, our group brings in curated lending deals, and I can come alongside each of my children and actually do a deal, a la your great book, The Apprentice Model, where we are with our kids doing a financial deal, teaching them how it works. I have 7 children. We adopted 2 little children from Guatemala. And so my older 5 have done lending deals with me in their LLCs. The upper 3 also have turnkeys, all curated deals that came through Freedom Founders, all passive. And then I was mentioning earlier, but one of my kids, their freedom number is now up to $2,000 a month in passive income. He is 24 years old. That's amazing to me. All learned by the books that you wrote and by the TAs that you bring to our group. And so one thing I think we're missing in our society is teaching our kids about financial, principles. It's nowhere, not in our schools. It's just not there. And until we can do that, I think we're going to create a generation of not entrepreneurs. And I think we have a generation of W-2 earners. Not a bad thing, but unless they can learn to run a business, to invest in alternatives, I think we're going to be in trouble. You look at the market right now, it's fragile. Market has never been higher, as we talked about. Rates have never been lower. Inflation is higher than the mortgage rate right now. We've printed 25% of all the money ever printed in our country was printed in the last 2 years. 1,000 people are turning 80 every day. Inflation's off the charts. I just feel like there's going to be a huge correction and we need to be ready. And for me to be ready as a family. On top of that, with the ability to create passive income, we've been able to serve as a family in Guatemala multiple times a year. When you can go alongside your children to a place where there's poverty that is incredibly terrible to see, our kids come back here a little more humble and a little more appreciative. And then they have a mindset that they want to help somebody. If one of my daughters sees a child that their same age that doesn't have any food, it changes your mindset when you get back here. And then we're able to now create passive income that can generate money to pay for something in Guatemala or here in Flint, Michigan. And so, I think of anything I can think of, having the time due to the financial aspect of Freedom Founders, I've had more time to spend with my children to teach them about being other oriented.
If you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.